One day, a 12-year-old boy was in a bank with his mother, waiting while she did her business, and a group of men walked into this bank, and they proceeded to rob the place. And the boy saw an opportunity, and so before they saw him, he quickly snuck behind the teller counter, and so when the robbers told the tellers to get away from the counter, he stayed hidden under there and was able to trip the alarm, and the police arrived just as the men were leaving and caught them. And that was the beginning of my uncle's heroic and adventurous life. He was born in 1950 in New York City, and his parents were pretty young at the time. They didn't have much money when he was born, so the majority of his childhood was spent inside that city. He explored the city a lot, but like I said, didn't leave it much. After graduating from high school, he was drafted, and at the age of 19, same age I am right now, he was sent to fight in Vietnam. I can't imagine experiencing the stuff that he went through in Vietnam. He told me a lot of stories about his daily life there, enemy attacks, and LSD in the jungle. But one that stands out in particular was a day when his platoon was ambushed. They were under fire, and he and another man were separated from the rest of the platoon. The other man had been shot in the arm, and my uncle, being the brave man he was, risked his own survival to help this other man nurse his wounds and try to make it back to the camp. After 2 days of walking around the jungle, using the stars to navigate, they finally made it back to the main road and were rescued by a patrol. They both survived to make it back to the United States. And despite those negative experiences in the jungle, he was really inspired by this change of landscape that was so drastically different from his city life. So he decided when he got back to New York that he wanted to see as much of the world as he could. After working for a few years, he finally managed to get a job on a film crew. They were making nature films around the world, and he would just move equipment and hold a boom or whatever, just stuff like that. But he got to travel the whole world. He went to 6 of 7 continents and had adventures on all of them. One time when he was in Brazil, they followed a man who was an expert on Amazonian beetles, and they were looking for new species of beetles, and my uncle was actually responsible for the discovery of a new species of beetle in the Amazon. They also filmed on a lot of mountains, including Mount Everest. While filming there, the crew didn't actually make it to the top due to the weather, but a few years later, he returned and completed his ascent to the summit. He also filmed in other locations, caves in Mexico and Central America, the Great Barrier Reef of Australia, and lots of other amazing locations. After gaining enough knowledge, filming in all these places, he was able to start his own projects with a friend of his, and he focused these on the poaching problems that he had realized were occurring in the world, such as the white rhino in southern Africa. These films really helped to increase awareness of these issues, and also the proceeds for most of these films went to organizations that were helping prevent the extinction of endangered species. So throughout my childhood, I always loved hearing these stories of my uncle and his crazy adventures. They're really exciting and, awesome. But I realized recently that they meant a lot more to me than just inspiring stories. They really taught me a lot of things. He taught me to be brave in situations where I could be in danger, but I should still do the right thing, He taught me that we have to respect the world we live in and do what we need to do to protect that world. And also his adventures, they inspired me to have my own adventures. I know that I'm a pretty adventurous person now, and I think a lot